pandas may be cute and adorable. Is that the only reason that we should save them? Today I'm going to try to persuade you that pandas really aren't worth all the trouble we go through to keep them alive. And hopefully, by the end of this presentation, I'll have convinced you to think a little harder on where your funding's going when you donate to an animal conservation campaign. Now, I've completed my research, and I'll be discussing what exactly is being done to save pandas, how much pandas cost in general, and a few other species that would be ideal candidates to receive more funding that currently goes to pandas. Now, I would like to begin by discussing the panda itself. To put it simply, the giant panda doesn't like to produce. It's incredibly clumsy and takes vast amount of food to keep alive and healthy. According to the article Lewis 2015, pandas only have about a 2-day window to be inseminated. They are very territorial and have to be kept apart in captivity so that they don't kill each other. And it's very hard to tell when a female is actually pregnant because they produce the same hormones, act the same way, and even build a nest whether or not they've mated. Now, their diet consists entirely of bamboo. And according to the World Wildlife Fund itself, they said that pandas eat between 12 to 35 kilograms of bamboo every day, depending on their age. Now, being in the bear family, pandas originally ate meat and berries, and despite evolving to rely entirely on bamboo, never completely developed the enzymes necessary to break it down. Now that we discussed a little bit about pandas, we're going to talk about a few the funding that goes to pandas and how much it costs for zoos to keep them in captivity. According to Meyer 2016, the cost of a zoo to house one panda is about $1 million per year, and that's lending them from China. The San Diego Zoo itself has paid around $45.8 million since 1996 to keep the pandas that they have. Now, China also charges a cub tax on any cubs that are born in captivity, and that costs another $400,000. Now, despite the pandas themselves being rather expensive, their habitats in captivity are relatively cheap, and bamboo is one of the fastest growing plants in the world, making it pretty easy to obtain. Now, aside from that, according to Reynolds 2016, funding to save endangered species donated from the US alone was about $1.2 billion. Now, only 25% of that has been spent, and only about 12% of efforts are given what they've asked for. Most are severely underfunded and could use the kind of funding that pandas and panda conservation efforts do get. Now, while pandas are adorable, they're not vital to any ecosystems like other animals. For example, there are numerous species of plants and animals that are dying, and when they do die, finally, they go extinct, they'll take their entire ecosystem with them. For example, bees. Bees pretty much carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. They pollinate plants more than any other animal, and without them, even humans ourselves wouldn't be able to pollinate and continue to grow plant life on such a vast scale that bees do. There are a few other species that are endangered or going into the endangered category, and one of which is coral. If you've been keeping up to date with the news or wildlife funding and conservation efforts, I'm sure that you've heard of coral bleaching, which is just pollution in the ocean that is causing coral to die by thousands and thousands all at once. Like places like the Great Barrier Reef, which were once vibrant, colorful places filled with coral and fish and other sea creatures. Large areas of it are now bleached white with no species of fish or other animals to be found around it. Now, not all other animals that are candidates to be saved are as large scale as coral or beads. Some, just like the Maud Island frog, could be saved with just moving them from their island to another one close by to escape their natural predators. This would take less than $1 million, which, going back to what I said earlier, it takes $1 million to keep a panda in captivity for a year from China. So, in conclusion, I would like to close with the following statements. We have looked specifically at pandas, what it takes to take care of them, and how they work biologically, their feeding habits, their eating habits, as well as looking at some other important species that could be saved with the kind of funding that pandas receive. I hope that I've successfully informed you about why I think pandas don't really need all the effort we go through to save them, and have convinced you to think a little more on where your money is going when you donate to a preservation effort. Thank you.